Hello, and welcome to my channel.
The wind howled through the desolate wasteland, carrying with it a bitter cold that seemed to seep into Jack Thompson's bones. He trudged forward, his footsteps leaving deep imprints in the snow-covered ground. The landscape was barren, devoid of any signs of life. It was a place forgotten by time. As Jack continued his journey, his eyes caught a glimmer in the distance. Curiosity sparked within him, urging him to investigate. With each step, the glimmer grew brighter until he finally reached his destination, a frozen city. The city stood before him, its buildings covered in ice and snow, like ghostly sentinels guarding long-forgotten secrets. The air was heavy with silence, broken only by the occasional creaking of frozen structures. Jack was captivated by the haunting beauty of the frozen city. It was as if time had frozen along with the buildings. With a sense of wonder and trepidation, Jack stepped into the city, his boots crunching against the icy ground. He wandered through the frozen streets, marveling at the intricate patterns formed by the frost on windows and doors. The city seemed to hold its breath, waiting for someone to unravel its mysteries. As he explored the abandoned buildings, Jack discovered remnants of a once thriving civilization. Papers and photographs lay scattered on the frozen floors, telling stories of people who once called this place home. He could almost hear their whispers in the wind. Lost in his thoughts, Jack stumbled upon a survivor huddled in a corner, seeking shelter from the biting cold. The survivor's eyes were haunted, reflecting years of isolation and despair. "Who are you?" Jack asked gently, crouching down beside the survivor. "My name is Emily," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've been here since the city froze." Jack's curiosity piqued. He urged Emily to share the city's history. She spoke of a once prosperous city, filled with bustling markets and laughter echoing through the streets. But one day, an unnatural freeze settled over the city, turning it into a frozen wasteland. Emily's voice trembled as she recounted tales of people freezing to death, their bodies preserved in icy tombs. She spoke of a powerful sorcerer who had cursed the city, but no one knew why. The survivors had tried to escape, but the freezing magic seemed to trap them within its icy grip. Intrigued and determined to uncover the truth, Jack thanked Emily for sharing her story and set out to find answers. Please support my channel by liking and subscribing. Jack continued his exploration of the frozen city, navigating through the desolate streets. He was careful to avoid treacherous icy patches that threatened to send him tumbling to the ground. The buildings loomed above him, their frozen facades casting eerie shadows on the ground. As he wandered deeper into the heart of the city, Jack discovered frozen lakes that mirrored the pale blue sky above. The stillness of the city was almost unsettling, as if time had frozen along with everything else. It was a haunting beauty that both fascinated and unnerved him. Suddenly, a rustling sound caught Jack's attention. He turned towards the source of the noise and saw a figure emerging from the shadows. It was another survivor, their face etched with weariness and fear. "Who goes there?" Jack called out cautiously. The survivor hesitated before stepping into the dim light. "My name is Thomas," he said, his voice filled with a mixture of relief and caution. "I've been hiding here for months, avoiding those creatures that roam the streets at night." Jack's curiosity was piqued. He wanted to know more about these creatures and the dangers they posed. Thomas warned him of their ferocity and cunning, urging him to be cautious. Armed with this knowledge, Jack thanked Thomas for his warning and continued his journey through the frozen streets, ever watchful for the lurking shadows. Jack continued his exploration of the frozen city, venturing deeper into its desolate streets. The buildings stood like frozen sentinels, their icy exteriors reflecting the pale light of the sun. Each step he took echoed through the silence, reminding him of the emptiness that surrounded him. As he wandered through the frozen streets, Jack couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and sadness. The city had once been a bustling hub of life and activity, but now it lay frozen in time, its secrets buried beneath layers of ice and snow. He ventured into a dilapidated building, its walls covered in frost and decay. The air inside was heavy with the scent of dampness and decay. Jack's footsteps echoed through the empty hallways as he made his way towards a room at the end of the corridor. Inside, he found remnants of a forgotten life. Papers and photographs lay scattered on the floor, their faded colors telling stories of people who once called this place home. He picked up an old photograph, its edges frayed and yellowed with age. It showed a family, smiling and happy, their faces frozen in time. As he studied the photograph, Jack couldn't help but wonder what had happened to these people. Were they still alive, trapped somewhere in this frozen city? Or had they succumbed to the freezing curse that had befallen their home? Lost in his thoughts, Jack was startled when he heard a faint sound coming from outside the building. He cautiously made his way to the window and peered outside. To his surprise, he saw a figure moving through the snow-covered streets. It was another survivor, their body hunched against the biting cold. Jack's heart filled with hope as he realized he was not alone in this frozen city. As Jack made his way towards the figure, he noticed that they were struggling to walk. Their steps were slow and labored, as if every movement was a battle against the freezing cold. Determined to help, Jack quickened his pace and reached out a hand. "Are you all right?" he asked, concern lacing his voice. The survivor looked up, their eyes filled with weariness and despair. I don't know how much longer I can go on," they replied, their voice barely above a whisper. Jack's heart ached at the sight of the survivors' struggle. He knew that they couldn't survive much longer in this harsh environment. With a determined expression, he offered his hand once more. "Come with me," he said firmly. "We can find shelter and warmth together." The survivor hesitated for a moment before accepting Jack's offer. They clung to his arm, their body trembling from the cold. Together, they made their way through the frozen streets, searching for a place to take refuge. After what felt like an eternity, they stumbled upon an abandoned building with a partially intact roof. It provided some protection from the biting wind and falling snow. Jack helped the survivor inside and quickly started a fire using the few remaining scraps of wood he could find. As the flames crackled and danced, warmth filled the room, chasing away the cold that had settled deep within their bones. The survivor let out a sigh of relief, their body relaxing for the first time in what felt like an eternity. "Thank you," they whispered, their voice filled with gratitude. Jack smiled warmly. "You're welcome. We're in this together now. We'll find a way to survive and make it out of this frozen city." The survivor nodded, their eyes filled with newfound hope. They knew that with Jack by their side, they had a chance to overcome the challenges that lay ahead. As the survivor rested and regained their strength, Jack couldn't help but wonder about the history of this frozen city. He knew that there must be a reason why it had been cursed with such a powerful freeze. He decided to venture out into the city once more, in search of answers. The snow crunched beneath his boots as he made his way through the frozen streets. Each building he entered held a piece of the puzzle, a clue to the city's haunting past. In one building, he found a torn journal, its pages yellowed with age. The words were barely legible, but Jack could make out fragments of a story of a powerful sorcerer who had once lived in the city. The sorcerer's experiments with magic had gone awry, resulting in the freezing curse that had befallen the city. In another building, he stumbled upon an old map, its ink faded and smudged. It revealed hidden underground tunnels beneath the city, a labyrinth of secrets waiting to be unraveled. Jack knew that this was where he would find the answers he sought. Armed with newfound knowledge, Jack returned to the survivors' side. They were still weak from their ordeal, but their eyes sparkled with curiosity as Jack shared his discoveries. "We need to find a way into the underground tunnels," Jack explained. "I believe that's where we'll find the key to breaking this freezing curse." The survivor nodded, their determination matching Jack's own. Together, they prepared for the journey ahead, knowing that they were about to uncover the secrets that had plagued this frozen city for far too long. Jack and the survivor made their way through the frozen streets, following the map's directions to the entrance of the underground tunnels. The air grew colder as they descended deeper into the depths, their footsteps echoing through the narrow passageways. The tunnels were a maze of darkness and ice, their walls glistening with frost. Jack's breath hung in the air as he led the way, his flashlight casting eerie shadows on the icy walls. The survivor clung to his arm, their grip tight with both fear and determination. As they ventured further into the tunnels, Jack couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation. He knew that they were getting closer to the truth, closer to finding the key that would unlock the frozen curse. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew through the tunnels, extinguishing Jack's flashlight. Darkness enveloped them, and a chill ran down their spines. But they pressed on, relying on their instincts to guide them through the labyrinth of ice. After what felt like an eternity, they stumbled upon a hidden chamber. It was filled with ancient machinery covered in layers of ice and dust. Jack's eyes widened in awe as he realized that this was where the sorcerer had conducted his experiments. He approached a control panel, its buttons frozen in place. With a determined expression, he brushed away the ice and pressed a button. The machinery whirred to life, casting a dim light on the room. As the machines hummed and buzzed, a hidden compartment opened, revealing a pedestal. On top of the pedestal lay a small, intricately designed key, the key that could unlock the frozen curse. Jack reached out and picked up the key, feeling a surge of power and hope course through his veins. He turned to the survivor, a smile playing on his lips. "We found it," he said triumphantly. "Now we just need to find a way to use this key and break the freezing curse." As Jack and the survivor made their way back through the tunnels, they were filled with a renewed sense of purpose. They knew that the key in Jack's hand held the power to break the freezing curse that had plagued the city for so long. But as they approached the exit of the tunnels, they were greeted by a formidable sight. A massive, frozen creature stood guard, its icy form towering over them. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and its breath hung in the air like a freezing mist. Jack's heart pounded in his chest as he realized that this creature was the guardian of the key. It would not allow them to leave with the key without a fight. The survivor clung to Jack's arm, their body trembling with fear. But Jack's determination remained unwavering. He knew that they had come too far to turn back now. With a deep breath, Jack stepped forward, his eyes locked with the Guardians. "We mean no harm," he said firmly. "We only seek to break the freezing curse that has trapped the city." The Guardian's eyes narrowed, its icy form shifting as if considering Jack's words. Then, with a mighty roar, it lunged forward, its claws slashing through the air. Jack dodged the attack with agility, his sword drawn and ready. He swung it with precision, aiming for the Guardian's weak spots. Each strike sent shards of ice flying through the air, but the Guardian seemed unfazed. The survivor watched in awe as Jack fought against the Guardian, his movements fluid and calculated. She knew that they couldn't win this battle through strength alone. They needed to find a weakness, a vulnerability in the Guardian's icy armor. As Jack continued to battle the Guardian, the survivor noticed a faint glow emanating from the key in Jack's hand. She reached out and touched it, a surge of warmth spreading through her fingers. With a sudden realization, she knew what needed to be done. "Jack," she called out, her voice filled with urgency. "Use the key. It's the only way to defeat the Guardian." Jack's eyes widened as he heard her words. Without hesitation, he raised the key high above his head and plunged it into the Guardian's chest. A blinding light erupted from the key, engulfing the Guardian in a brilliant glow. As the light faded, the guardian's icy form crumbled to the ground, its frozen body shattering into 1,000 pieces. The air grew warmer, and a sense of peace settled over the tunnels. Jack and the survivors stood in awe, their bodies trembling from the intensity of the battle. They had defeated the Guardian and obtained victory over the frozen curse. With the key in hand, they made their way out of the tunnels, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As Jack and the survivor emerged from the underground tunnels, they were met with a sight that filled their hearts with hope. The frozen city was beginning to thaw, its icy structures melting away to reveal the vibrant colors of life beneath. People emerged from their hiding places, their faces filled with awe and wonder. They marveled at the newfound life that pulsed through the city once more. Laughter echoed through the streets as families reunited, their hearts filled with joy. Jack and the survivor stood at the heart of the city, their bodies weary but their spirits triumphant. They had succeeded in breaking the freezing curse, in restoring life to this once frozen wasteland. But their work was not yet done. There was still much to be done to rebuild and restore the city to its former glory. Jack knew that it would take time and effort, but he was willing to do whatever it took to make the city thrive once more. As the survivors gathered around him, Jack addressed the crowd, his voice filled with gratitude and determination. "We have overcome great challenges and faced unimaginable dangers," he said, his voice carrying through the streets. "But we have emerged victorious. This city, our home, will rise from the ashes and become a beacon of hope once more." The crowd erupted into cheers and applause, their voices filled with hope and excitement. They knew that with Jack leading them, they had a chance to rebuild their lives and create a future free from the icy grip of the past. And so, Jack and the survivors set to work, rebuilding their homes and restoring the city to its former glory. With each passing day, the frozen wasteland transformed into a thriving community, filled with laughter, love, and a renewed sense of purpose. As Jack looked out over the city, he couldn't help but feel a sense of fulfillment. He had made a difference in the world, and he knew that his journey was far from over. With a renewed spirit, he bid farewell to the city he had saved, ready to face new adventures and challenges that awaited him beyond the frozen wasteland.